In a world that glorifies constant motion and visibility, the power of isolation is often misunderstood. Yet, those who rise the highest are often those who first chose to disappear. Disappearing isn't about giving up. It's about shutting out the noise to tune into the signal. It's about stepping back, not because you're weak, but because you're aligning yourself for something greater. Disappearance becomes preparation, a sacred retreat into the quiet to gain clarity, sharpen, focus, and restore inner strength. The distractions of the modern age are relentless. Every beep, every ping, every scroll demands your attention. You're constantly pulled in multiple directions, asked to perform, compare, react. In that chaos, your vision can blur. Your mission can weaken. That's why stepping away is not a luxury. It's a necessity. When you isolate yourself from distraction, you reconnect with your purpose. The silence doesn't diminish you. It reintroduces you to who you really are beneath the layers of expectation and noise. When you disappear, you create space. Space to think, space to grow, space to heal. In that space, you confront what's been ignored. Your doubts, your fears, your hidden potential. You begin to strip away the false narratives that have been playing in the background for years. You hear your inner voice more clearly. Not the voice that's been shaped by other people's opinions, but the one that speaks truth, the one that reminds you why you started and what you're capable of. This isn't about isolation for the sake of hiding. It's about strategic solitude. When an archer pulls back the bowstring, the arrow must move away from the target before it can be launched forward. That tension, that temporary withdrawal, is what creates the power for it to soar. You are that arrow. Your temporary disappearance is your drawback. You're not regressing. You're preparing for acceleration. But that preparation won't always feel good. Growth rarely does. The silence can get loud. In the absence of affirmation, doubt tries to creep in. In the stillness, past failures might replay themselves in your mind. That's the test. Can you stay the course when no one is cheering? Can you remain disciplined when no one is watching? Can you believe in what's next when all you have is the weight of now? The truth is, this season of disappearance is where your character is formed. It's where consistency is forged. No spotlight, no applause, just you, the work, and the mirror. You can fake it in front of people, but you can't fake it in the dark. That's where the foundation is laid. If you skip this part, you'll crumble under the pressure of success. Because elevation without preparation leads to collapse. You're not just training for the moment, you're building the infrastructure to sustain it. While the world is chasing validation, you're choosing vision. While others are broadcasting every move, you're moving in silence. That's strength. That's wisdom. You're not invisible. You're intentional. You're not being overlooked. You're being prepared. What they can't see is the blueprint you're building, the mindset you're strengthening, the skills you're mastering. And when the time comes, your reintroduction will speak for itself. This is the season to lock in. Cut out the noise. Say no to distractions. Get up earlier. Stay up later. Read more. Train harder. Reflect deeper. You don't need a crowd to validate your grind. You just need commitment. This is the time to plant seeds. The harvest will come, but not without the labor. And real labor doesn't always post updates. Real work is done in the quiet, in the background, far from the stage. People won't understand it. They'll question where you went. They'll assume you lost motivation, gave up, or fell off. Let them think what they want. They don't know what's being built in your silence. They don't see the pages being filled, the reps being counted, the disciplines being formed. That's okay. You're not disappearing for them. You're disappearing for you, for the version of yourself that's waiting on the other side of sacrifice. And understand this. There's nothing glamorous about this phase. It won't always feel inspiring. It will get lonely. It will test your resolve. You'll wrestle with self-doubt. You'll be tempted to go back to what's comfortable. But every time you choose discipline over distraction, you're winning a silent war. Every time you prioritize your purpose over popularity, you're laying another brick in the foundation of your future. This is where you grow in power, Not power that shouts, but power that builds. Quiet power, resilient power, purpose-driven power. That's the kind of strength the world can't take from you because it wasn't given to you by the world. It was forged in the fire of commitment, shaped in the silence and matured in the shadows. So if you're in the midst of that season now, where it feels like nobody sees you, nothing's happening and progress is slow, don't quit. Don't panic. Don't try to rush it. That space is sacred. That silence is strategic. Stay there. Embrace it. Lean into it. What's forming in that place will serve you for the rest of your life. In a world that thrives on constant visibility, where every moment is shared, posted, liked, or critiqued, there is immense power in choosing to step back. The concept of withdrawing, not to escape but to evolve, is often misunderstood. To disappear in this context isn't about running away. It's about becoming intentional with your energy. It's about making a conscious decision to remove yourself from noise, distractions, and external expectations, so you can truly focus on what matters most: transformation. When someone decides to disappear for a season, they're not giving up. They're leveling up. It's an active, strategic decision to reclaim time, mental space, and clarity. Silence becomes the training ground, solitude the sanctuary. In this quiet space, growth accelerates. There is no need to perform, no audience to entertain, no timeline to meet. Only the raw, unfiltered truth of where you are and where you want to go. Disappearing allows you to dismantle the false layers you've built over time. Society often rewards the appearance of progress more than progress itself. The curated life becomes more important than the real one. But real growth is often ugly, unglamorous, and grueling. It doesn't photograph well. It doesn't trend. It looks like 5 a.m. workouts when no one is watching. It looks like saying no to every distraction, every invitation that doesn't align with your purpose. It's the courage to disconnect in order to reconnect, deeper, sharper, and stronger. There's a kind of magic that happens when you remove yourself from the race everyone else is running. When you no longer compare your pace, your progress, or your process to anyone else's, you begin to discover your own rhythm. That rhythm leads to alignment, and alignment is what separates temporary success from sustained excellence. In the silence of your own world, you start hearing the voice of purpose more clearly. You start recognizing the things you once chased that you no longer need. You become anchored, not by validation, but by conviction. The people who truly dominate in any arena, be it business, art, fitness, or personal mastery, often have a season where they went dark. No updates, no validation, no applause, just work. Real, disciplined, deliberate work. Because greatness is not found in constant exposure. It is carved in the dark when no one is clapping, when no one sees the effort, when doubt whispers louder than belief. That's where the foundation of transformation is poured. What happens when you disappear is that your priorities come into focus. The trivial loses its appeal. You stop chasing trends and you start chasing depth. You begin to choose quality over quantity, substance over surface, and discipline over dopamine. The absence of outside influence reveals what's been inside you all along. Your resilience, your passion, your untapped potential. You stop trying to be everything to everyone, and you focus on becoming the best version of yourself. This process is not glamorous. It's not filled with fanfare, it's filled with resistance. But that resistance is exactly what you need. It forces you to build muscle, mental, emotional, spiritual. You realize that the journey to dominance isn't about adding more. It's about subtracting what no longer serves you, shedding habits, relationships, mindsets, and patterns that kept you small. The pain of letting go is real, but the peace on the other side is transformative. Disappearing gives you time to develop skills without judgment. It gives you space to fail without fear. Most people want to be seen before they are ready, and that desire becomes their downfall. They crave validation instead of mastery. But the one who disappears to refine, to rebuild, to realign, That's the one who returns with something real, something powerful, something undeniable. In solitude, your vision sharpens. You no longer dream based on limitations or past failures. You start to dream based on who you're becoming. You gain the courage to think bigger, to plan with purpose, to act with intensity. There are no shortcuts here, just long hours of work that no one applauds and breakthroughs that no one sees, until one day you re-emerge. And when you do, the results speak so loudly you don't have to. There's a sacredness in being hidden. When no one is watching, your motives get purified. You stop performing and you start creating. You begin to understand that purpose is not a performance, it's a calling. And calling doesn't need claps, it needs commitment. Every moment of discipline, every sacrifice, every silent win, it all builds something within you that can't be faked. Confidence, competence, and character. While the world is watching everyone else, the one who chooses to disappear gains the ultimate advantage: focused preparation. This person isn't distracted by the algorithm or the applause. They're not shaken by comparison or timelines. They're grounded in a deeper truth: that dominance is earned, not gifted, that breakthrough is built, not begged for, and that transformation always begins behind closed doors. You have to be willing to be misunderstood, to be underestimated, to let people wonder what happened to you, to let them write your story while you're busy rewriting your future. Disappearance is a risk, but it's also a filter. The real ones will wait. The real results will come. And when they do, they won't just reflect what you've done, they'll reveal who you've become. This is the season to go dark so you can come back with light, to step away so you can return sharper, wiser, and more powerful. It's not about hiding from life. It's about finally living it, fully present, fully aligned, and fully committed to the version of you that this next level demands. In a world constantly buzzing with noise, distraction, and urgency, the notion of disappearing may seem counterintuitive. But the path to true mastery, to lasting transformation, often begins in silence, away from the crowd, the opinions, the validation-seeking behavior, and the clutter that consumes our daily lives. Disappearing doesn't mean quitting. It doesn't mean giving up. It means choosing intentional isolation to focus on something far more valuable: your personal evolution. The process of strategic withdrawal is about reclaiming your energy and redistributing it into what truly matters. In today's hyper-connected culture, most people are constantly plugged in, scrolling, reacting, comparing, and performing for an invisible audience. That audience is rarely satisfied and often irrelevant. The hunger to be seen, to be liked, to go viral, is a seductive but ultimately hollow pursuit. Growth doesn't thrive in performance mode. It thrives in solitude. And solitude isn't loneliness, it's a crucible. It's where the weak parts of you are broken down and rebuilt stronger. When you disappear to dominate, you're removing yourself from the expectations and narratives that others have imposed on you. You're saying, "I'm no longer available for mediocrity." It's an act of radical self-respect. You stop broadcasting every move and begin refining the inner game. The work behind the scenes, the practice, the planning, the discipline, is what ultimately sets champions apart from the crowd. There's a reason the gym is empty before sunrise. The grind isn't glamorous, but it's where greatness is born. In the darkness of solitude, clarity begins to form. Without the opinions of others clouding your vision, you start to remember who you are and what you truly want. That silence is a mirror. It shows you everything: your fears, your strengths, your distractions, and your true potential. You can't confront what you're running from when you're constantly surrounded by noise. When you disappear, you finally have the stillness to look yourself in the eye and tell the truth. That truth can be uncomfortable. It might reveal how often you've procrastinated, how easily you've settled, how distracted you've become by comfort. But discomfort is not your enemy. It's your teacher. It shows you where the work is. And once you know where the work is, you can begin the transformation. Transformation doesn't require applause. It doesn't need to be live streamed. In fact, it demands the opposite. It demands focus, sacrifice, and quiet intensity. Think about the caterpillar in the cocoon. Its metamorphosis happens in complete darkness, cut off from the outside world. There's no audience cheering it on as it disintegrates into something unrecognizable, before rebuilding into something breathtaking. You're no different. You have to allow yourself that space to fall apart a little, to confront the parts of you that have been holding you back, to strengthen the parts that are ready to rise. And all of that happens away from the spotlight. When you choose to step away, people will notice. They'll wonder what happened. They'll ask why you're so quiet where you've been, why you're not posting, not partying, not performing. That's when you know you're on the right track. You're no longer seeking validation from the outside. You're validating yourself by honoring the process. This is where real confidence is forged, in private, in practice, in perseverance. Silence becomes your sanctuary. While others are caught up chasing the next dopamine hit, you're building something real, something sustainable. You're reading, training, planning, visualizing. You're investing in your mind, your body, your future. It's not glamorous, it's not flashy, but it's potent. It's the kind of growth that doesn't fade because it wasn't built for approval, it was built for purpose. Disappearing is not just about avoiding distractions, it's about cutting ties with the identity you've outgrown. You have to be willing to let go of who you were to become who you're meant to be. That version of you can't be birthed in the same environment that nurtured your past limitations. So you separate, you isolate, you elevate. Not because you're better than anyone else, but because you've decided that your evolution is non-negotiable. There's a season for visibility, but there's also a sacred season for invisibility. Invisibility is where roots grow deep. It's where the foundation is laid. The tree doesn't sprout overnight. For months, even years, it looks like nothing is happening. But beneath the soil, the roots are expanding, anchoring, preparing for a breakthrough. When that breakthrough comes, it seems sudden to everyone else, but not to the one who planted the seed and watered it in silence every single day. The hardest part of disappearing is the patience it requires. You don't get instant results. No likes, no shares, no applause, just you and your effort. But every drop of sweat, every late night, every early morning, every decision to show up when it's easier to stay comfortable, it all compounds. It all adds up. And one day you'll emerge with something undeniable, something no one can ignore because it wasn't built on hype, it was built on truth. So disappear, not out of fear, but out of intent, out of hunger, out of vision. Use the silence as fuel. Use it to sharpen your edge, deepen your discipline, and master your craft. The world doesn't need another echo. It needs something original. And originality is born in isolation, not imitation. This isn't about hiding. It's about preparing, about becoming dangerous in the best way, mentally sharp, spiritually grounded, physically strong, and relentlessly focused. The more you step away from the noise, the more powerful your return becomes. Because when you finally re-emerge, you won't need to say a word. The results will speak louder than any announcement ever could.